Melakim 2, 2 Kings chapter 24. In his days Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up, and Yahoyakin became his servant for 3 years. And he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahuah sent against him raiding bands of Kasdites, and raiding bands of Aram, and raiding bands of Moab, and raiding bands of the children of Ammon. And he sent them against Yahuda to destroy it, according to the word of Yahuah, which he had spoken by his servants the Neviim. Only at the command of Yahuah this came upon Yahuda, to remove from his presence, because of the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also because of the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Yerushalayim with innocent blood, which Yahuah would not forgive. And the rest of the acts of Yahoyakim, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yahuda? So Yahoyakim slept with his fathers, and Yahoyakin his son reigned in his place. And the sovereign of Mitzrayim did not come out of his land again, for the sovereign of Babel had taken all that belonged to the sovereign of Mitzrayim, from the wadi of Mitzrayim to the river Pereth. Yahoyakin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Yerushalayim 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Yerushalayim. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuah, according to all that his father did. At that time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up against Yerushalayim, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came against the city, as his servants were besieging it. And Yahoyakin, sovereign of Yahuda, and his mother, and his servants, and his heads, and his eunuchs went out to the sovereign of Babel. And the sovereign of Babel, in the 8th year of his reign, took him prisoner. And he took from there all the treasures of the house of Yahuah, and the treasures of the sovereign's house, and he cut in pieces all the objects of gold which Shalomo, sovereign of Yisrael, had made in the Hekel of Yahuah, as Yahuah had said. And he exiled all Yerushalayim, and all the officers, and all the mighty brave men, 10,000 exiles, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained except the poorest people of the land. And he exiled Yahoyakin to Babel, and the sovereign's mother, and the sovereign's wives, and his eunuchs, and the leading men of the land he exiled from Yerushalayim to Babel. And all the mighty brave men 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 1,000, all who were strong and fit for battle, these the sovereign of Babel brought to Babel into exile. And the sovereign of Babel appointed Mattaniah, Yahoyakin's uncle, to reign in his place, and changed his name to Tsidqiyahu. Tsidqiyahu was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Yerushalayim. And his mother's name was Chemutal, the daughter of Yirmiyahu of Livnah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuah, according to all that Yahoyakim did. For this took place in Yerushalayim and Yahuda, because of the displeasure of Yahuah, until he had cast them out from his presence. And Tsidqiyahu rebelled against the sovereign of Babel. Melakim 2, 2 Kings chapter 25. And it came to be in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and all his army came against Yerushalayim, and encamped against it, and they built a siege wall against it all around. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of sovereign Tsidqiyahu. By the 9th of the month, the scarcity of food had become so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then the city wall was breached, and all the men of battle fled at night by way of the gate between 2 walls, which was by the sovereign's garden, even though the Kasdites were still encamped all around against the city, and the sovereign went by way of the desert plain. And the army of the Kasdites pursued the sovereign, and overtook him in the desert plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. And they seized the sovereign, and brought him up to the sovereign of Babel at Rivlah, and they pronounced sentence on him. And they slaughtered the sons of Tsidqiyahu before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Tsidqiyahu, and bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babel. And in the 5th month, on the 7th of the month, which was the 19th year of sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, a servant of the sovereign of Babel, came to Yerushalayim, and he burned the house of Yahuah and the house of the sovereign and all the houses of Yerushalayim, even every great house he burned with fire. And all the army of the Castites who were with the chief of the guard broke down the walls of Yerushalayim all around. And Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, took into exile the rest of the people who were left in the city, and the deserters who deserted to the sovereign of Babel with the rest of the multitude. But the chief of the guard left some of the poor of the land as vine dressers and farmers. And the bronze columns that were in the house of Yahuah, and the stands, and the bronze sea that were in the house of Yahuah, the Castites broke in pieces, and took their bronze away to Babel. And they took the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the ladles, and all the bronze utensils the Kohanim used in the service. And the chief of the guard took the fire holders and the basins, which were of solid gold and solid silver. The bronze of all these utensils was beyond measure, the 2 columns, the 1 sea, and the stands, which Shalomo had made for the house of Yahuah. The height of 1 column was 18 amah, and the capital on it was of bronze. And the height of the capital was 3 amah, and the network and pomegranates all around the capital were all of bronze. And the 2nd column was the same, with a network. And the chief of the guard took Seraiah, the chief Kohen, and Zephaniah, the 2nd Kohen, and the 3 doorkeepers. And out of the city he took a certain eunuch, who was appointed over the men of battle, and 5 men of those who saw the sovereign's face, who were found in the city, and the chief scribe of the army, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, chief of the guard, took them and made them go to the sovereign of Babel at Rivlah. And the sovereign of Babel smote them and put them to death at Rivlah in the land of Hamath. So he exiled Yahuda from its own land. And he appointed Gedaliah, son of Achim, son of Shaphan, over the people who were left in the land of Yahuda, whom Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, had left. And all the commanders of the armies, they and their men, heard that the sovereign of Babel had appointed Gedaliah, and they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah, even Yishmael, son of Netaniah, and Yochanan, son of Kareah, and Seraiah, son of Tanhumeth, the Netophathite, and Yaazaniah, the son of a Maacathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah swore to them and their men, and said to them, Do not be afraid of the servants of the Castites. Dwell in the land and serve the sovereign of Babel, and let it be well with you. And in the 7th month it came to be that Yishmael, son of Netaniah, son of Elishama, of the seed of the rain, came with 10 men and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Yahudim and the Castites who were with him at Mizpah. And all the people rose up, small and great, and the commanders of the armies, and went to Mitzrayim, for they were afraid of the Castites. And it came to be in the 37th year of the exile of Yahoyakin, sovereign of Yahuda, in the 12th month, on the 27th of the month, that Ewil-Merodach, sovereign of Babel, in the year that he began to reign, released Yahoyakin, sovereign of Yahuda, from prison, and spoke kindly to him, and appointed his throne above the throne of the sovereigns who were with him in Babel, and changed his prison garments. And he ate bread continually before the sovereign all the days of his life. And as his allowance, a continual allowance was given to him from the sovereign, a quota for each day, all the days of his life.